Hi everybody, it's time for my camera comparison between the iPhone 16 Pro Max and the Galaxy S24 Ultra. Samsung vs Apple is like King Kong vs Godzilla. They may not be the strongest kaiju, but they are definitely the most famous, and they sure know how to make a lot of noise. Samsung is still considered the Android brand among many people, so let's see how their flagship phone fares against Apple's best. And if you like this phone case, watch my previous video, and if you're lucky, you can even win one of those. But before we take these two outside, let's get a sense of how good they will film in this kind of environment here. Now I'm using the portrait video mode of the S24 Ultra and the cinematic video mode of the iPhone 16 Pro Max. The lighting is all the same, which I'm using with my main camera up here. And this is what you could get if you want to shoot this kind of talking head videos with these two phones. I'm using both front-facing cameras here. The quality looks actually quite nice on both devices here. We'll see later that the S24 Ultra has some things to play around with. We can use the circles here, it's called big circles. And then we have color point, where we can make everything black and white, and this glitchy effect we also have. But for this kind of videos, the normal blur is now all the way up to level 7. We can also unblur this full. But I think this big circles are number 1. It's on number 3. Let's go back to number 1. Would be a nice effect if you want to have the background blur. The iPhone is just stuck on what it has here, so you can't do anything else, but it is looking good the way it is already in my eyes. So that's the way both of these phones operate with the front-facing cameras. Now let's one time switch around. And now I'm using the main lenses from both phones. I think this should be a big improvement. I will see it later on. I can't also play around now with the settings here, obviously, but we have the same effects like we had on the front-facing camera on the S24 Ultra, while the iPhone is still stuck on what we get here. You obviously can use the onboard mics, and if you think the quality is good enough for you, it is not an issue. You could always connect external mics like the wireless DJI Mic 2 here, or you could also record with an onboard mic and use a microphone like this, which I'm using for recording my stuff. I have no idea if it was in the frame now, but then later you could sync in your editing program the audio, which I will demonstrate to you now. So this is the S24 Ultra recording with the onboard mic, and now the same footage of the S24 Ultra with my external mic, and now the iPhone 16 Pro Max. This is the onboard mic of the iPhone 16 Pro Max, and iPhone footage with my external microphone. So what do you think? Are these cameras good enough for this kind of videos? Let me know in the comments. Let's start with this building and the ultra-wide lens. The iPhone's picture is slightly brighter, but overall they aren't far apart in quality. Zooming at 2x doesn't change this, but the S24 Ultra brightens its picture here now a bit. Both phones have a 5x telelens, which we will use here face to face, and the S24 has a tiny bit more clarity overall. At 10x, the iPhone has a noisier image, which will just get more obvious at its max zoom of 25x. The S24 Ultra can go up to 100x, and this is what you will get with it. You might be thinking, why didn't he use the 3x telelens here? And you're absolutely right. Let me be honest, I forgot about it. I haven't been using the S24 Ultra for months, to be honest, since I gave the phone to my wife and just use it for some camera comparisons in between. And meanwhile, I had multiple phones that just had one optical lens, and while shooting this day, I totally didn't think about the 3x and had just the 5x telelens on my mind. But I went out again to take some shots with the 3x lenses for you guys, so sorry about this. But unfortunately, the weather is really bad these days, so the sun is hiding since many days, but at least you have some kind of sense how the 3x will operate at day. Just a normal November morning here. It's around 9 AM and somebody changed the weather settings to Silent Hill. But even like this, we can see that the 3x telelens of the Galaxy S24 Ultra is taking the better pictures here, as we should expect. So no surprises here at all. Once again, the S24 Ultra's ultrawide is producing the darker image. The red pavement shows quite well how the S24 Ultra is getting a brighter image, switching to the main lens. The 2x shots are quite equal here, which is also true of the 5x shots. The 10x shot now looks better from the S24 Ultra, while at 25x this is getting even more clear. Let's zoom in on that graffiti on the wall, and the ultrawide lenses both have again a very similar output. Zooming in here gives the clear edge to the Samsung. While the 2x shot is still close, every further zoomed in shot becomes a clearer win for the S24 Ultra. There are moments here where it is really hard to tell both phones apart, just like with the 2x and 5x shots here. Surprisingly, the 10x shot is better from the iPhone here, and the 25x shot is also sharper, but unfortunately also noisier. This shot now looks quite some brighter from the 16 Pro Max, and just as before, the S24 Ultra gets brighter with the main lens. The 2x shot is more detailed from the S24 Ultra, and we could flip a coin for the 5x shot to decide which wins this one. The 10x shot is again slightly better from the iPhone in my eyes, but the S24 Ultra gets the clearer shot at 25x. This ultrawide shot looks more vibrant from the S24 Ultra, with the colors of the bushes being more vivid and the picture overall also bright. The iPhone tightens the gap a bit while zooming in, and at 2x and 5x we are again quite close. The same can't be said for the 10x shot, which is an easy win for the S24 Ultra, and at 25x this just gets more apparent. And just for good measure, a 100x shot from the Samsung. We can see that the added brightness of the S24 Ultra brings the advantage of having more details in the area. The 5x shot of the S24 Ultra is showing a lot more noise, while the iPhone is way darker, but the 16 Pro Max is also more detailed. Let's move to portraits now. Using the main lenses, the S24 has the more vibrant photo, and I prefer the colors too. The iPhone's background blur looks more natural though. The 2x aren't much different here, and both are also doing a good job at not only separating my sun from the background, but also the swing. With the 5x telelenses, both are extremely close in their colors. Both have a fair bit of issues with the hairs to create a clean separation here, unfortunately. With the main lens, the iPhone is now taking the brighter portrait. The face of my son is throughout better exposed on the iPhone, but in the end, both take great portraits. Now let's take a picture of him with the auto portrait mode enabled. The ultra wide shot of the S24 Ultra is way darker, while the main lens shots are closing in on each other. And the 2x shots are hard to tell apart. The 5x shot is sharper from the S24 Ultra, and while the cold wind annoys my boy here, the S24 Ultra is superior at 10x. The image from the iPhone isn't just noisier, it also has a greenish look to it. Both 25x shots aren't greater. Those selfies look almost identical. The S24 Ultra is a bit sharper though, but the colors are a bit off, especially the blacks have a bluish tint. Now enabling the portrait mode, and the iPhone has the more detailed cutout, while the S24 Ultra removes some details. Maybe Samsung's way to tell me that I need a shave. Now let's take a look at the portrait video mode and cinematic video mode. This mode will give to you a background blur like it does on the photo mode for the portraits, and while the iPhone doesn't give to you any further options, we have different options on the Samsung S24 Ultra. First of all, we can check the blur. This is the standard blur, and there we can just remove the blur. And second option would be the big circle. It is what I started the video with. There we have also, it is level 0, and we can go up to level 7, which blurs out everything pretty much, but the shapes of the blur are in circles. So then we have the next one, which would be color point. It is quite obvious what this one is doing. Everything around me looks black and white while I stay in color. And then we have the glitch, which will give to you a glitch effect. Obviously, I actually like the big circle one. It looks for me the best. You put on like level 1 or 2, but level 2 is too much also nice. Level 1 should suffice, but even this looks a little bit too much at times. At night looks better in my eyes, but this is a portrait and the cinematic video mode. We can use this mode also with the main lenses, of course. Before it was a front-facing cameras, and here we have the option to also zoom in a bit. So now we have 2x on both. Samsung was struggling a little bit here with keeping the focus, while the iPhone is doing a better job with this. But again, we have the different options here, like the big circles. Now I just trying to find the face on the Samsung. It's weird. It is now it found the face finally, and again it's asking to get a little bit closer. So let's one time zoom out on the main lens on 1x, and it is still demanding to get a little bit closer. Can't find the face. Now it found the face again. Now let's try the other options. We have the color point here, and of course the glitch as well. So there you have it. But overall, the iPhone didn't have any issue with finding the face, while the Samsung was struggling quite a bit here. I really like that the S24 Ultra offers different effects here, and when it focuses right, it does a good job. But the iPhone is just way better here when it comes to the quality. It has no issues with keeping the focus fixed, while the Samsung was struggling again and again with that. Now let's one time check the stability modes. Action mode on the iPhone, shooting in 2.8K with 30 frames per second, while the S24 Ultra has the super steady mode, shooting in Quad HD, also with 30 frames per second. Now let's proceed to jog a bit. Let's one time check how the zooming while filming and also the lens switching works on both devices. We'll start with the S24 Ultra. We're in the ultra wide to 1x, 2x, 3x, 5x, 10x, and now manual zoom to 20x. Switch one time from the ultra wide to the main, to the 5x, ultra wide, 1, ultra wide, 5, 1x, ultra wide. Now let's do the same on the iPhone with the ultra wide, 1x, 2x, 5x, back to the ultra wide, 2, ultra wide, 5, 1, ultra wide, 5, ultra wide, 2, 5, and yes, of course, one can also the next zoom, which is 15x. Side by side, both maximum zooms, 20x on the Samsung, 15x on the iPhone. And here the video comparison with the 3x lens of the S24 Ultra and 3x digital zoom on the iPhone. So you can see this is a winter morning here in Germany. I hate winters. I hate this weather. And I have no idea when it will be better, when it will be more sunny, so I said just let's take what we got. And I will present to you this beautiful morning. The S24 Ultra obviously has a dedicated night mode, but I will start with the auto mode here, and this ultra wide shot is really dark from Samsung's flagship. The iPhone's main lens shot looks really good, while the S24 is still too dark for my taste. This isn't getting better while zooming in, and the 5x shot looks horrible from the S24 Ultra. Now we have more light here, and the S24 Ultra does indeed capture the brighter image. Both main lenses shots are doing well, and at 2x the colors are off on the iPhone. At 5x the S24 Ultra is more detailed, while the iPhone takes the grainier shot. The 10x shot of the iPhone can't compete anymore. This ultra wide shot goes to the iPhone. The S24 Ultra fights a lot of noise and overblows the lights. The main lens fixes both of this, while the iPhone gives us a lens flare show. At 2x, the iPhone introduces now the noise but keeps the reflections running. Now let's use the dedicated night mode of the S24 Ultra, and the ultra wide shot is a bit brighter here. The main lenses of both phones produce a good image, but the 2x shot is better from the iPhone since the sky is turned into a sort of oil painting on the Samsung. The 5x telelens doesn't have this issue here, and the iPhone is once again struggling with the lens flare while also having the noisier image yet again. The colors of the iPhone's ultra-wide lens are too strong, especially oversaturating the red. This gets tuned down with the main lens, but both fail to stay really consistent here with the red color. One more shot with the auto mode, we can see how the brightness gets a clear bump on the ultra-wide. The main lens shots from both are good, but the iPhone just can't win against direct lighting. It overblows the street lamp down here, and the sky is filled with lens reflections, as if it wants to show that we are not alone out there. And the full shot looks even worse. The 2x shot is a lot better from the 16 Pro Max, being way more detailed on the tower and capturing quite some stars. The 5x and 10x shots don't yield a clear winner. The S24 Ultra is crushing this ultra-wide shot while the iPhone is too dark. The main lens shot is still a win for the Samsung, so is the 2x shot. The 5x shot goes to the iPhone though, but the S24 isn't far off. At 10x unfortunately, the 16 Pro Max is too dark and noisy yet again. The colors on the S24 Ultra look more vivid and also diverse. The iPhone looks very dull, especially down here. The iPhone improves by a mile with its main lens, and both this and the 2x shots are good from both phones. Even the 5x shot is good too. The iPhone is a tiny bit more detailed though. We will now zoom in on the red light sign, and while both are overblowing the sign, it is actually already readable on the S24 Ultra. The main lens still can't get it done on the 16 Pro Max, while once again demonstrating its love for lens reflections. The 2x zoom isn't safe from the overblown lights, while the 5x telelens finally lets us see that the sign has some letters to begin with. All while the S24 Ultra is doing a really good job. At 10x, the iPhone finally reveals the name of the only cinema the city has to offer. Great. And now also some shots where the 3x lens is included as well. With the main lens, the iPhone is again distracting with another outlandish reflection, which at 3x is playing an even bigger role. The S24 Ultra takes good advantage of its telelens, producing the sharper and clearer image, while the iPhone is overblowing the lights on top of its shortcomings. The 5x shots are closer obviously, since the iPhone has its own telelens to use, but the Samsung is still taking the better shot. While both ultra-wide shots aren't great, the S24 Ultra does have the edge here, but the main lens shots are on par for me. Now another 3x comparison and another big difference. Details and clarity play yet again a big role, and the iPhone isn't just overblowing multiple lights. Another annoying light reflection. The 5x shots are good from both, with the iPhone being brighter. This ultra-wide shot is really bad from the iPhone, and the main lens doesn't bring enough improvement to catch up with the S24 Ultra. The 3x is giving us the expected advantage for the Samsung device, and while the 5x are closer, the S24 Ultra takes the better 10x shot. One thing to note in favor of the iPhone is the fact that this sign is indeed as red as the iPhone captured it, or at least way closer to this than what the S24 Ultra produced. Another ultra-wide shot which the S24 Ultra has in its bag, and yet again the main lens of the iPhone can't tighten this gap enough. The 3x shot of the iPhone is actually quite good to be honest, but the S24 Ultra's advantage is still visible. With the 5x lens we get the closest results, but unfortunately we can see again that the iPhone has its issues with lighting at night. And a final 10x shot where the iPhone wins the battle of having the noisier image. The face is obviously the most important thing in the selfie, and the 16 Pro Max is doing the better job with it here. The S24 Ultra makes me look too pale and my face is blurrier too. Now I'm standing in front of the red building from just before, and both pictures are actually okay. The S24 Ultra has the wrong shade of red unfortunately, and you can see why while turning on the night mode here, which moves the walls colors in the direction of what the iPhone produced. No, I don't have a flag on my head, even though the iPhone seems to believe so by not blurring it out, and it took a lens flare in my knee here too. The colors are better though on the iPhone. At 2x, the iPhone accepts that the flag isn't part of my gear, and both have a hard time snapping my face properly, with the iPhone being too blurry and the Samsung on the way to being an oil painting. 5x portraits at night aren't the real deal either, especially with the limited light. The S24 Ultra is overall doing a better job, while the iPhone has a really hard time. I'm not recording with the ultra-wide lenses, 4K 30 frames per second. So let's move around a bit here. We will now switch to the main lenses. Oops, so now we're in the main lens on both. Quality obviously improves a lot, and immediately you can see a very big issue which the iPhone has, which is the lens flare issue. It is a little bit visible on the S24 Ultra as well, not a little bit more, but it is a huge issue on the iPhone, on pictures, on videos. If there are some direct lights coming in, the iPhone's always struggling, and sometimes it can ruin the picture, the video, the moment, the capture. It is really something Apple should fix. Last year they said that they make already some big improvements on the 15 Pro Max. I didn't have an iPhone prior to that, so I have no idea how horrible it must have been before the better coating on the lens. But obviously this year they didn't improve on anything. It's really something Apple needs to fix. Let's go to the ultra wide one time. The ferry is passing by, and go to 1x. Come to the 5x telelens on both. So ultra wide. And let's one time zoom in again on something, starting with the Galaxy S24 Ultra, 1x, 2x, 3x, 5x, and 10x. Those are the on-screen options. Further zooming in is available on to 20x. So going back to the ultra wide, now over to the iPhone 16 Pro Max, we're in the ultra wide, 1x, 2x, 5x, and digital zoom up to 15x, and back to the ultra wide here as well. I'm now using the portrait and cinematic video modes on both devices, recording in 4K with 30 frames per second, and of course those modes work the best when there is more light available. But I just want to show to you one time how they will look in a darker setting here. I'm working out towards the light pool, so the quality should obviously improve. The Samsung has some options always to doing this, I showed before, to make it a little bit more cinematic with the big circles here. Yeah, color point where everything else will be in black and white, and a glitch mode, but especially this kind of option with the big circles where we can go all the way extreme, but or like on level 2 have the lights like this. That's a quite nice effect. So there you have it, S24 Ultra versus iPhone 16 Pro Max. The two big dogs of the smartphone world against each other. Let me know in the comments which of these two phones you prefer, or even maybe own. Comparisons between top of the line flagships produce rarely a really clear standout winner in my eyes. Both phones have their ups and downs obviously, and I feel that we are at a point where they are just stagnating, especially the iPhone doesn't seem to have stepped up from its last year's model. All the issues like the horrible lens flare, especially at night, are still there and are especially horrible while using the video mode. The S24 Ultra will be soon replaced by the S25 Ultra. It will probably be just a couple of weeks until this phone will hit the shelves, and then of course I will give to you a new comparison with the iPhone 16 Pro Max as well. Stay tuned for this, stay healthy, thanks for watching. A thumbs up if you like the video would be great for me, and a sub would be even greater. Stay tuned for more videos, and I will see you in the next one.